Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Front Porch, your friendly neighborhood podcast. My name is Ethan. I am the content producer here at 730 Yeti Studios and today's host. Today, I am wearing a Mothman shirt, as you can see. Super cool, super creepy. Mothman, as you all know, very popular myth, very popular legend, infamous among all folklore tales. Well, today, we are interviewing a legend, not a myth, but a man made of flesh and blood, a teacher, a mentor, and most importantly, a friend. Everyone, please welcome Tom Greenberg of Braincell Camera to the front porch. Tom, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Trying to get you on for years, so it's good that we finally did it.
It's a little unusual for me to be on this side of the camera, but I'm looking forward to it.
I hope so. So, Tom, for everyone not familiar with Braincell Camera and who you are, would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, Braincell Camera is a cinema camera rental company based in Grand Rapids. We've been around for about 7 years, and we supply camera equipment, lenses, accessories, and essentials to production companies, advertising agencies, corporations, freelancers, basically anybody that can hold and point a camera. We're sort of a unique company in this area. There's nobody else that really does this, although there are rental companies in other cities, pretty common. But Grand Rapids has never had a camera rental company until Braincell started, so we're proud of that.
You should be.
Oh, thanks.
You got a nice new shop going on?
Shiny new shop. Yeah, it's beautiful. Want everybody to come by and check it out. It's right on Chicago Drive in Wyoming. And we were able to build a facility that was really kind of tailored to our exact needs of preparing and working on and servicing, cameras for high-end shoots. So people use our cameras on television, commercials, corporate marketing, social media, music videos, and everything in between. It's important to us that everything be, in really great shape and up and running when you take it out the door.
Austin and I just saw that you're working on something new in your shop. What's going on there?
You're talking about our secret construction project?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, if
it's secret, I don't want you to talk about it then.
Since we're friends, we're building a little studio in the back of the building. So the front part of the building is our prep area and our tech area where we service things. The back part of the building is going to be a small shooting studio for lens tests and workshops and people to come in and get their hands on equipment and test it. A lot of today's camera equipment is pretty complicated and sophisticated, and it's a little intimidating to people if they haven't had a chance to work with it before. So we want people to have a chance to, get their hands on it, play with it, get familiar with it before they get out in the field and find out they don't know how to do something. That's always a bad thing.
Super cool. That's what he and I thought it was, but we wanted to clarify.
Yeah. So it's actually going to be technically a Lowing studio.
Oh.
Because Lowing is our landlord. They own the building. But we are going to have access and use it for all of our stuff.
I didn't know that they owned your new building.
Yes.
Still. Is that preferable?
Oh, it's great. We have a wonderful partnership with the Lowing.
Well, of course,
guys,
yeah. I mean, you were the same thing for
exactly. Well, we were located in their building for 5 years, and we sort of outgrew that space, but we have a really good relationship with them because they supply all the things that we don't supply and vice versa. So between us, we can fully equip, a pretty major, film shoot.
Right.
But, we don't really overlap very much, so it makes for, really good.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's super, obviously very interesting and niche to have a camera rental company in West Michigan, something only a man of grit, experience, and culture like yourself could pull off. So could you tell us a little bit about what led to you starting that business? Like, what is your background?
Well, I bought a camera, one camera, and then it was a slippery slope from there. But I was actually teaching cinematography classes at Compass College.
I'm familiar.
I thought you might be. And I went looking for local resources to, pull in to help my class to, be able to expose the students to more things, more equipment than the school had, or than were available. And there were none. I didn't find any. I found some really nice people, but I didn't find much equipment. And I thought, light bulbs sort of went off, and I went, oh, there's an opportunity here. And that was my first mistake. But no, it's been great. But literally, I bought a camera, a red camera. It was 2013 when I bought that. And I'm like, oh, well, I bought this camera. I might as well rent it out. Well, then it was like, well, we'd rent your camera if you only had this. So then I would get that. And then they say, oh, well, we would rent your camera if you only had this and this. And I'd get that. And now I have a building full. So go figure.
So did you go to college for cinematography at all?
I did not. I was a history and political science major in
Wow.
college. Yeah. A really useful field of study, and great employment opportunities for those history and poli-sci majors out there. No, I got into film in a very circuitous fashion. My career has had more zigzags than I don't know, but I actually started mostly in music. Was where my career started. I was in Ann Arbor in the late 1960s and 70s, and the Ann Arbor music scene was crazy good, tons of amazing bands, and I got to know most of those people. It was a pretty small community, and made a lot of friends, spent a lot of time with them, and eventually ended up working for a company that installed recording studios. And so in the course, and I worked for that company for about 12 years. And in the course of working for that company, I spent tons of time in recording studios, working in recording with all kinds of big name musical acts. The Detroit music scene at that time in the, 70s and 80s was, really strong, and, tons of big bands, with big hits, and I got to hang out with most of them, and it was really cool. So I sort of wandered from, I was in the music end of things, and I was, doing recording and editing, and a friend of mine who was also a recording engineer got hired to do sound design for a film, and he said, hey, want to work on a movie? And I'm like, I don't know. I never worked on a movie. He's like, oh, it'll be fun. Come on. So we worked on a movie, and we did sound design and sound editing and Foley and everything else for about 6 months at night after our day jobs.
Oh my God.
for free.
Classic.
Well, it wasn't supposed to be free.
Right.
We had points.
Oh.
Right?
Oh, I like when that happens.
Yeah. So, we had a contract with points, but of course, you never get
right
points.
No.
Never pays off.
It's like exposure. It's like,
exactly.
Oh, we're not going to pay you, but you get exposure.
Exposure bucks, right?
Yeah.
You take your exposure bucks to Meyer and try to spend them and see how that works out for you. Yeah. So we got those, but it was really fun. We had a really good time. And we had such a good time that he and I decided to start a company together doing audio post-production, basically sound for commercials and films and television programs and things like that. So we built a recording studio in the Detroit area specifically for the purpose of doing that. And at that point, I had one foot in the film world. but I was still basically in the audio world. But then we decided to buy one of the first digital video editing systems, an Avid, when they came out in the late 1980s. And so we bought this Avid editing system that let you edit digital images about the size of a postage stamp. Right, because that was all the computer power there was, and none of us knew how to run it. And we were like, well, somebody's got to learn it. I said, okay, I'll learn it. So then I basically became a video editor, and I spent the next 10 years working pretty much as a video editor and compositor and motion graphics and all that kind of stuff. And our studio that had started out as an audio studio became a full-fledged post-production studio. We did animation and we did all kinds of, boutique video stuff. And we sort of specialized in automotive projects because we were in Detroit, lots of car commercials and things like that. So worked on bazillions of those.
That's crazy. I understand why you were my film fundamentals teacher.
There you go.
So have you, I never knew you had that audio background.
Yeah, that was really where I started. Not so much location audio, but studio audio.
Right. Have you ever had a desire to go back to that, or are you pretty content?
No, I am more happy to have that I loved it at the time. But,
right.
My ears are now, way too much loud rock and roll and stuff. I couldn't do that job anymore.
Probably don't want to do video editing anymore.
No, I've spent years and years of my life locked in dark rooms with clients, trying to make something red, blue, and something slow, fast. And, while they slid pizzas under the door because, they wouldn't let us out. And no, I don't want to do that.
Well, you had a lot of, you're so well versed in like so many things, and obviously you were able to pass that on to a lot of us at Compass. Tom was my film fundamentals teacher, as well as After Effects editing my final year there. Did you like teaching?
I love teaching. I love the interaction with the students. I love the passion that everybody had, the energy. I would really feed off that, that energy, really came back to me, as feedback. I really loved the we can do it spirit, of students like you just don't know what you can't do. So you'll try anything, you'll do anything. Less thrilled with the, paperwork and administrative side of teaching. So the people side was great. The other side,
Why was I your favorite student at Compass?
Oh, there are so many reasons.
Yeah.
Let me list them.
Pay attention, everybody.
Wait, I can't think of any reasons. No, we had your class in particular. You had a great class.
Oh, we were awesome.
Yeah, you guys. There were a lot of characters in your class, which you were certainly one of.
Yes.
And you guys had tons of outside the box ideas, which I really loved. And I've probably kept in touch with more people from your class than just about any other one that I taught, just because I enjoy them so much. So, you guys were really fun. I will never forget, speaking of audio, one of the images burned into my brain is Paul Morissette on Duncan when Nick is out in a canoe 400 yards out in the river and Paul's holding a boom pole up to record his audio. I'm like, what are you doing?
I remember on that film, the actress, I don't remember her name, but she was out in the pond and I was just laying like at the bottom of the boat monitoring her live, and in case anything happened, I was supposed to save her. I had like a walkie on, and then they'd call cut and you would just see me from the shore just like pop up. You're like, are we going again?
Yeah, there's some really funny times.
Yeah.
That was good times.
Were there any horrifying student film experiences?
I seem to remember somebody sticking a red camera out an upstairs window at Mangiamo's.
I don't know who that was.
Jib without any safety.
Okay, there was safety. We had safety. The jib took 2.5 hours to set up for some reason, but we also didn't need it on a jib.
I wasn't there. I just saw a picture posted on Facebook, and I'm like, what the?
That picture looks like a Sasquatch picture. It's so blurry and like grainy, and you just see Tanner's like glowing white eyes.
Pretty much.
Giving the thumbs up.
But I knew what was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, a moment that will live in infamy.
Any other ones? Not related to me.
Not related to you. Well, when I bought my first camera, this is Red before Compass had theirs. It was capstone season when I got it, and I immediately was begged to loan it to one of the capstone groups that was shooting. And in the same fashion, I saw a picture on Facebook of somebody about 30 feet up a pine tree with my camera.
Oh my God. They just climb it with the camera?
Yep.
It's kind of impressive, actually.
It was impressive. But yeah. No, I have some really great memories from teaching, and some of them not so great. But one of these days I'll have to write them down.
But you're retired from teaching.
I am retired from teaching. Yeah, COVID was sort of the end of that for me, because all of my classes were hands-on classes for the most part, and it's really hard to teach those remotely. And it like all the fun went out of it for me. And when we were entering our second year of, COVID lockdowns or, restrictions, I just decided I was done. All the fun was gone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, too bad, but it was a fun run. I had taught for 12 years. So it was
impressive.
Good era. Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. I lasted that long with some of the antics.
In a basement, more or less.
Yes.
No, I remember film fundamentals, the days that you weren't there and we had a sub, we were kind of like, this isn't as fun.
We always had a good time in that class.
We all liked you quite a bit.
Oh, thank you.
So don't have to focus on teaching anymore. You must miss it like a little bit.
I do miss it. Again, I miss that interaction with people. That was the fun part of every day was, seeing what new wonderful, antics people would come up with.
Yeah.
Especially in some of the, the crazier like music video production class and stuff like that. People would do all kinds of wacky projects, and it was really fun to see that stuff.
What do you plan on doing with all your free time now? / what have you been doing with all your free time besides?
Well, I don't seem to have much free time, so that.
All right.
I'm not sure exactly how that works.
Why is that?
But Braincell has got me very busy.
That's good.
What sort of started out as this would be a kind of neat idea has become a bit all-consuming, and we've been in a really heavy growth phase for the past 5 years. We've added tons of inventory. We've got, a really good crew working now, who all former students of mine. I cherry picked, some of the best people and got them to come to work for me. And, now we're in our new facility and it's the beginning of the season. Things are really starting to get cranked up here in West Michigan, and we're busy. I mean, there's always something to do. We're in the middle right now of changing over to a new software system, which sounds boring as heck, but I
think it's interesting.
It's essential,
yeah.
For tracking all of our rentals and doing all of our quotations and things like that. And so I've been working on that for the last couple months, which it's just like all I do,
Right.
sit and work on all that stuff. So, owning a business is always an adventure. Like you never kind of know what the next day is going to bring.
Yeah. You have any block parties planned?
We're hoping now that the weather is getting nice and COVID seems to be on the decline, we're planning to have a big open house party. And yeah, things that we couldn't do the last couple of years.
Right.
So yeah, it should be fun.
Everyone show up to the block party. It'll
Heck
be great.
yeah.
I'm going to be there.
Lots of fun stuff. Some Braincell swag.
Yeah, get hats, everyone.
Braincell hats.
Get hats. Austin's wearing his.
Yeah.
They're cool. They're comfy.
We have t-shirts. We have all kinds of things. Yeah.
So working with all these cinema cameras, all these lenses, you must have favorites.
I do. Do I have to tell?
Would you like to share?
We're pretty camera agnostic. I mean, as far as actual cameras go, everybody makes good cameras these days, although I have a personal preference, I guess, for RE cameras.
Of course.
Right now, they're pretty much the top of the heap, especially the Alexa Mini LF, which we are very proud to have, the only one in West Michigan.
Really?
Yeah. So,
do you know how many are there out there?
Not that many. It's a pretty pricey, specialized device. There's a few in Michigan, mostly over in Detroit.
Okay.
We have the only one over here.
That's awesome.
Lenses, we have a really broad selection of lenses, and lenses are sort of like paintbrushes, right? They're all different and they all do little different things and they all have different character and things like but I have to say Cook lenses in general are my favorite. The famous Cook look, as they call it, is they look fantastic.
It's hard to beat.
They, even make me look good when I'm on camera. So
you always look good, but sure.
Thank you. They give me that little extra.
Yeah, a little bit of glow.
Yeah, exactly.
Where do you see Braincell in the next 5 years?
Good question. We're hoping to really become the hub of the West Michigan camera community. We want to be the place where everybody goes to try new stuff and hang out and network and just have a good time talking about the stuff that we all love, cameras and lenses and lighting and, all the other kind of things that my wife rolls her eyes about.
Right.
But, we want to continue the mentoring aspect of things. We have a bunch of workshops and training sort of things, in the works that we're, now that we're in our own facility and we've got some space, we can do, because a really big part of what our business, is about is we have to educate people. We have to educate the people that use the equipment. They have to educate the clients, the people that they work for about why they should use this equipment, what makes it better or more appropriate for the job that they're doing. What the differences are between things. And so, we feel like a big part of our job is educating people. So I think Braincell will continue to grow. We're always buying new things, adding new things. We just added a really sophisticated motion control system this week that allows you to do computerized programmed camera moves. Awesome. And of course, first we have to learn how to use it and then we can show other people how to use it. So we're kind of in the middle of that. But we're always adding things, bringing in things, testing things, trying things. And we want other people to feel free to come hang out with us and do that stuff. Right. So, we really hope Braincell's like the camera clubhouse for West Michigan.
You're already on a pretty good path.
We're getting there.
That.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Kind of not too much in the competition department.
No, well, we're lucky. We're sort of in our own little geographic bubble here
Yeah.
in Grand Rapids. We're a few hours to Chicago and a few hours to Detroit, and then there's us. So that's good and bad.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so, but we really want to help the community grow. There's a really great production community here. A lot of really good people, a lot of really good companies, a lot of really good clients. We've got, I don't know, more than a dozen Fortune 1000 corporations in West Michigan. They all have extensive needs for visual communication. So, we just want to help all of that stuff prosper.
That's awesome. We're kind of almost at the half hour mark,
Okay.
but we'll keep going. Got a few
Not a problem.
few general audience member level questions that we can discuss.
Okay.
What have you been watching lately, Tom?
What have I been watching?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'll watch anything Marvel.
Have you watched Moon Knight?
I have watched the first episode. So I think the second one comes out today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the first episode. It was confusing.
Yes.
To say the least. But I enjoyed it. I think Oscar Isaac's really good. I really liked him. That was really interesting.
Like the cinematography quite a bit.
Yeah, I thought it looked fantastic.
Yeah.
I feel like all of the Marvel series that they've done recently have been like they've explored all these different sort of ways of presenting stories. It's been really interesting. Like they really feel free to just experiment, kind of. So I'll watch anything Marvel. I just watched Wu Assassins.
Oh, really?
On Netflix. Highly recommended if you're into gory martial arts stuff.
Okay.
But
I am.
Beautifully shot, fantastically shot, and really good visual effects, which I'm a fan of, having spent so many years making them. I enjoy watching them and having other people make them when I don't have to.
Yeah.
But I can appreciate all the time that goes into them. So, highly recommend Wu Assassins. It was a sleeper. I just was like, oh, I wonder what this is. And I clicked on it and then I was like, oh my.
I just watched Brandon Cronenberg's Possessor. Like sci-fi body horror, obviously son of guy who made The Fly.
I have not seen that.
He is he's carrying on the body horror aspects. Very, very good. I was reading up about it and he was like, yeah, anything we wanted to achieve effects wise, we knew we could do it like VFX, like CGI, but they figured out how to do it practically in camera.
Yeah.
Everything they did, they figured out how to do it in camera by themselves.
Yeah, I feel like we're sort of in this golden age of visual effects, and I know, like the LED volume studios and things, we're just really starting to scratch the surface of what you can do with those. But, visual effects, when I was doing it mostly in the 90s, it was really hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it took, we would render 3D animation and it would take, hours to render one frame because the computer power just wasn't there. And now, visual effects companies can make pretty much anything if they have enough time. Budget obviously is a consideration, but the capability of the artists, the software, the computer power, pretty much anything you can think of, they can do. And it's really liberating, for storytelling, I think.
Yeah.
Be able to do that. I'm really interested to see what comes next. And I love The Mandalorian and all the stuff that they did with the LED volume stuff. We're starting to see people use those in corporate production.
Mm-hmm.
General Motors did some projects in Detroit using them. I'm sure we'll see tons more of that. And it just gets better and better, and now they have, camera control and framing, control of the camera in those 3D worlds. And it's amazing.
Yeah. And I agree with you about the golden age thing because I feel like mid 2000s through like 20 as late as like 2018, 2019, everyone was like, let's see how far we can push CGI. Like how much can we CGI in this movie and get away with? And people did it. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it did not work at all. And people finally crossed that line where they're like, okay, we can't CGI everything and expect people to be impressed by it. Nowadays, it's more impressive to do something practically than it is to have a really good
Yeah, I mean, I think,
CGI thing a lot of the
yeah,
time,
well, I mean,
depending on what you do.
CGI sort of became because we can do it, we should do it,
Yeah.
which isn't necessarily a good idea. And, a good concept that's well executed will always stand out. I mean, if you look at, even like Jurassic Park,
Right.
30 years old now, and it still holds up. It still looks great because it was really well done, and there was some CGI and there was some, models and puppets and there were some miniatures and, it was a little bit of everything. But they did a really good job. And so it stands up. And then you look at some stuff where it's just like, okay, too
Right.
much,
Yeah.
over the top, dial it down a little bit. So I really appreciate it when I see, effects that are really well conceived and well done.
I feel like it's the defining trait between Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Lord of the Rings will always hold up. The Hobbit has never held up.
Yeah.
Because of how much they relied on visual effects for the Hobbit production versus the years and years of fine-tuning practical effects for the original trilogy.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's great that filmmakers have all these tools at their disposal now, so if you have the budget and you have the time, you can figure out, all the best techniques to do something. It's really great. And I love watching like things as people come up with stuff. I like to be like, whoa,
Yeah.
how they do that. And then I'd love to, reverse engineer everything and try to dissect it, So
Yeah.
my wife doesn't love that. She's like, can't you just enjoy the story? No, I can't. I have to rip it apart.
I'm the same way. And Grace is like, I don't know what you're talking about.
And I don't want to know, right?
Yeah. Before we wrap up, is there anything you would like to say to any aspiring cinematographers or filmmakers in general?
Aspiring cinematographers. Well, practice. I mean, get out and make stuff. That's the best thing you can do. You can watch YouTube videos and till you're blue in the face, but there's no substitute for just getting out and doing it and doing it and doing it, making mistakes and learning from your mistakes and trying new things. I think that's super important. Braincell is always ready to help people. If you want to get your hands on equipment, come and see us. We're always happy to do that. One thing I do want to bring up, we are active. Michigan is trying to bring back our film incentives. At one time in the 2010 sort of range, Michigan had the most lucrative film incentives in the country, and it worked. A bunch of big films came and shot here. Unfortunately, those incentives weren't constructed very well, and it wasn't as advantageous for the state as it should have been or could have been, so they went away. But there's now an industry group that we're part of called MIFIA, the Michigan Film Industry Association, which is working to bring back better structured incentives for Michigan. And you only have to look at a state like Georgia, where the film incentives there have been incredibly powerful, generating billions of dollars of revenue every year and thousands of jobs and, hundreds of businesses and facilities and things. to see how you can, how if you do it right, it works properly. So we're trying to do it right this time around. I would encourage everybody to find out more about MIFIA and support it, become a member or a sponsor. Right now, we have a bill has been introduced into the Michigan legislature, and it's being debated. Not quite ready to vote on it yet, but so far it's looking fairly positive. So there's a good chance that we may be able to bring back a better constructed film incentive for Michigan that is really Michigan centric. Really favors Michigan filmmakers and Michigan companies and Michigan infrastructure.
Yeah.
It's really all about. These are great jobs. I've been working in this industry for 40 years. It's fun. It pays well. You work with great people, and we want more of that in Michigan.
I knew the film incentives were trying to come back, but I didn't realize they were like spearheading that operation.
Well, I wouldn't say we're spearheading, but we're a spear carrier.
Yeah, definitely a very integral part of that.
Yeah, well, we believe in it. Obviously, we have a vested interest in its success. It'll help us, but it'll help Michigan too. I mean, our industry is a crazy business, as you know, right? It spends tons of money to solve problems, and it moves really fast, and it changes really quickly. And that's the kind of industry that Michigan should want to have, right? It really generates a lot. And it doesn't take a big infrastructure. You don't have to build a factory and, have all that smokestack, stuff to have a successful film production, right? So the film industry moves fast, spends lots of money, and, doesn't leave, a lot of, footprints behind when it's done. So it's a great industry, and hopefully Michigan will embrace it.
That's awesome. Well, Tom, I think we have reached the end of our time here.
This has been fun.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah.
I'll be sure to stop by the shop.
Please.
Play with some gear.
Yeah, I would love to have everybody come on by.
Yeah.
We are open to help anybody with any project. Don't be afraid to, give us a call. Come on in. And, we would love to see all of the West Michigan film community through our doors this year.
Yeah, that's so cool what you guys do there. You heard it here first. Visit Braincell Camera, new shop. Tom's great. Everyone that works for him is super fun. I hope you would agree.
Well, of course.
I know you give some of them a hard time every now and again.
Oh, they deserve it.
Yeah, I know they do.
We have a great team.
Yeah, honestly. Join us for the next one. Don't know what we're going to talk about, but it's going to be something cool. Get off our porch. Have a good one. Thanks for coming by. Thank you.